The sun sank over Skull Island, painting the jungle in gold and blood-red light. The air was thick with tension, a silence that seemed to listen for something monstrous. Deep within the heart of the island, King Kong walked alone, his steps heavy, his breath slow and deep. He had fought countless battles, but this evening felt different. The birds had vanished, the wind had stilled, and the trees whispered of something ancient awakening beneath the earth. Kong's instinct sharpened. Something powerful was near. Something that didn't belong to this age. The ground trembled, faintly at first, then stronger, until the earth cracked open near the jungle's edge. A deafening roar erupted, one unlike any sound Kong had ever heard. From the split earth emerged a creature from another time, a Tyrannus Dinosaur, taller than trees, its scales like armor, its teeth dripping with the blood of an older world. Its eyes glowed yellow in the dimming light, and when it exhaled, smoke poured from its nostrils. Kong stared, his muscles tensing. The era of monsters had returned. The jungle fell into chaos. Birds screeched and fled into the stormy skies. The Tyrannus stepped forward, shaking the ground with every stride. It roared again, a sound that made even the mountains echo. Kong's chest rumbled as he answered with a roar of his own, one that shattered branches and sent a shockwave through the valley. The two titans faced each other, nature's fury against prehistoric dominance, and in that moment, the island held its breath. The battle began with an explosion of power. The Tyrannus lunged, its jaws snapping like thunder. Kong dodged, grabbing the creature by the neck, slamming it into a rock formation that shattered under their weight. The dinosaur's tail whipped around, hitting Kong square in the chest and sending him tumbling through the trees. The ground erupted in dust and leaves. Kong rolled, shaking off the pain, eyes blazing with fury. The war of giants had begun. Rain began to fall, cold and heavy, turning the battlefield into mud. The Tyrannus roared, stomping closer, its massive feet sinking into the earth. Kong rose again, pounding his chest, rain washing blood from his arms. He charged forward, striking the beast with a blow so fierce it echoed across the island. The Tyrannus retaliated, clamping its jaws around Kong's arm, teeth piercing deep. Kong roared in agony but didn't back down. With sheer will, he twisted, slamming his free hand against the dinosaur skull. The sound was like a thunderclap. Lightning struck above them, illuminating the jungle like a burning sky. The two monsters locked together, their silhouettes outlined in fire and storm. Kong lifted the Tyrannus off the ground for a moment, muscles tearing under the strain, and threw it into the trees. The forest exploded with broken wood and smoke. But the dinosaur wasn't done. It crawled back up, blood dripping from its mouth, fury glowing in its eyes. It was a predator. It would not fall easily. Kong's breath came heavy as thunder rolled across the island. The fight had already destroyed half the jungle. Trees burned where lightning had struck, and smoke rose from the earth. The Tyrannus lunged again, and this time it caught Kong off guard, its massive jaw clamping around his shoulder. Kong roared in pain, slamming his fist into the creature's eye. The beast stumbled back, roaring in rage and confusion. Kong pounded his chest, challenging it again, refusing to fall. As the rain poured harder, the earth began to sink beneath their feet, the ground breaking apart from the weight of their clash. Rivers overflowed, waterfalls collapsed, and thunder shook the sky. Both monsters were bleeding, both refusing to yield. The Tyrannus launched forward again, jaws wide, while Kong met it head-on, his roar echoing through the storm like a battle cry from another world. Then came the moment that changed everything. The ground beneath them split open entirely, a deep fissure glowing with lava and fire. Both titans stumbled near the edge, claws and fists fighting for balance. The Tyrannus tried to push Kong into the pit, but Kong dug his feet into the earth and grabbed the creature by its throat. The two locked eyes, predator and protector, and in that instant, the jungle's fate hung in balance. Kong roared with every ounce of strength left inside him and lifted the Tyrannus into the air, spinning and slamming it into the burning earth. The explosion of fire lit the entire island. The dinosaur screamed, twisting violently, its tail smashing into Kong one last time before falling into the molten pit below. The roar faded into the depths of fire as the earth sealed again, leaving Kong kneeling on the broken ground, his body scarred but his spirit unbroken. The storm above slowly began to clear. The storm slowly faded into silence. The rain turned to mist, drifting across the jungle like ghosts of the fallen. Kong remained on his knees, breathing heavily, his chest rising and falling like waves after a hurricane. His fur was scorched, his muscles torn, yet his eyes burned with the same primal light that had carried him through centuries. The flames from the lava pit reflected in his gaze, painting him in shades of red and gold. For a long moment, there was peace, the kind that follows destruction, fragile and haunting. But then, from the depths of the molten fissure, came a faint, trembling sound, not a roar, but a cry. It was small, weak, and full of pain. Kong's head tilted, his breath slowing. He stepped closer to the crack in the earth, peering down into the glowing abyss. Among the shards of fire and stone, something moved, not the Tyrannus itself, but something smaller, trembling in the heat. A creature, a baby dinosaur, barely alive, its eyes wide and terrified. The offspring of the beast he had just destroyed. Kong froze, his massive heart thundering. For a second, the instinct to finish the job surged, but then he saw the creature's tiny claws reaching up, not in attack, but in desperation. It reminded him of the helplessness he had once felt when humanity hunted him, chained him, and took away everything he loved. The island was cruel, but nature had always been balanced. He could not let the cycle of rage continue. Slowly, carefully, Kong reached down into the molten heat, ignoring the pain burning his skin, and lifted the small creature from the fire. The baby Tyrannus whimpered, its body trembling in his palm. Steam rose from Kong's arms, his fur sizzling, but he didn't stop. He brought the creature to his chest, shielding it from the falling embers. The jungle, scarred and broken, watched in silence as the king of monsters held the child of his enemy. For the first time, the storm above cleared completely, and the first ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, touching Kong's face like a blessing. Kong walked through the ruins of the battlefield, each step slow but deliberate. Around him, rivers of mud and ash carried the remnants of their war. Trees lay broken, but new sprouts were already pushing through the soil. The island had survived, barely, and so had its king. The baby Tyrannus nestled weakly against his chest, breathing shallowly. Kong found a shaded cave near a waterfall and gently placed the creature on a bed of leaves. The sound of running water filled the silence, calming even the birds returning to the sky. For days, Kong stayed beside the creature, watching it recover. He hunted for it, brought it water, protected it from smaller predators that dared approach. Slowly, the little Tyrannus began to trust him. It followed him, mimicking his movements, its small roars echoing his own. It was fragile, but fearless, a mirror of what Kong had once been when he first ruled the island. The bond between them grew not out of blood, but out of understanding. Two survivors of a world that had tried to destroy them. Yet peace never lasts long on Skull Island. One night, as the moon rose over the mist, the ground began to tremble again. The volcano in the distance glowed faintly red, alive once more. From the jungle shadows, new sounds emerged, deep and heavy, like something massive stirring. Kong turned sharply, placing the baby behind him. The night wind carried the scent of death. Something else was coming, drawn by the battle's echoes, by the scent of blood and fire. The jungle split open as a creature unlike any before crawled out, not from the past, but from the depths of mutation. Its body was deformed, a fusion of reptile and molten stone, its eyes glowing like burning coal. It was born from the lava that had consumed the Tyrannus, a monster born of death itself. It roared with a sound that shook the sky. The baby Tyrannus whimpered behind Kong, recognizing something of its parent's essence in this twisted beast. Kong's gaze hardened. He knew what this meant. The island was no longer birthing life, it was birthing vengeance. The new creature charged, flames spilling from its skin as it tore through the jungle. Kong intercepted it mid-run, their collision sending shockwaves through the trees. Fire and ash exploded around them as the baby creature cried out, hiding in the cave. The battle was no longer about dominance. It was about redemption. Kong roared louder than ever, his fury echoing across the island like thunder from the gods. As the fight raged, the jungle burned once again, but this time, Kong fought not for himself, but to protect the child of his greatest enemy. His fists struck like meteors, his roars drowned the sound of fire, and his will refused to bend. Yet this new creature was stronger, faster, born from both fire and fury. It clawed at him, burned him, crushed him into the earth. But every time Kong fell, he rose again, slower, weaker, but unstoppable. The island trembled as if sharing his pain, its heartbeat synced with his.